Hello everyone, welcome to new gTLD Talk. Most people think every website ends with domain names like .com, .org or maybe .net. But the internet has quietly changed in the past decade. Many tech startups and big companies have started using new domain endings like .app, .xyz and .club, etc. Many brands are using their own domain extensions as well. Today, Barclays Bank runs its online banking business in .barclays top-level domain. Microsoft uses .microsoft for consumer-facing websites, and the State Bank of India runs .sbi top-level domain, serving millions of customers online. Beyond brands, new gTLDs like .app, .xyz, and .shop are now being adopted by startups, tech companies, and entrepreneurs worldwide. These aren't just domain names, they are entire top-level domains. This concept is called a new gTLD, and in 2026, the next round of application is opening. What is a top-level domain? Let's start with the basics. A top-level domain, or TLD, is simply the ending of a website. Every website you have ever visited has a domain name, and every domain name ends with something like .com, .net, .org, .ai, or even country codes like .de for Germany and .in for India. If you look closely, every web address has a dot, and what comes after the dot is called the top level domain. We all know .com because it's been around for decades and became the default choice. Currently, there is a limited availability of good .com domain names, and the prices of domains in the aftermarket have skyrocketed. Since the early 2000s, more and more domain extensions began to launch, and many of them, like .biz or .info, quickly became popular among startups and website owners worldwide. What is a gTLD? gTLD stands for Generic Top Level Domain. These are the things like .com, .net, .org, etc. Originally, they had specific meanings. .com for commerce, .org for organizations, .net for networks, but over time, anyone could register them. That's why they became the most widely used. The origins of new gTLDs. Before 2012, there was no set process how one could create a custom top-level domain. Every now and then, companies would work with ICANN to roll out a new extension like .info and .mobi, etc. In 2012, something big happened. ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, launched the first new gTLD program. This was an opportunity to expand the DNS by letting companies, organizations, entrepreneurs, and governmental bodies across the world to launch and use their domain extensions. That's why you see things like .app, .xyz, .shop, .london, and .google today. Over 1,200 new gTLDs were added to the internet. Some became huge success stories like .xyz, which exploded in the Web3 and blockchain world. Others found niches like cities, brands, and industries. Today, if you see Barclays Bank has their own domain extension .barclays. Their website is hosted on the domain name home.barclays. Similarly, if you check out e.leclerc, a French supermarket chain, they uses e.leclerc as their domain name. This was all possible because of the ICANN's new gTLD round happened in 2012. If you are wondering how to apply for your own custom top level domain, keep continuing watching this video. We are going to share a lot of insights for you. Types of new gTLDs. There are three big categories for new gTLDs. GeoTLDs, cities or regional domain names like Berlin, .tokyo, .africa. Generic or commercial gTLDs, open to everyone like .shop, .app, .xyz. .brand gTLDs. They're owned by individual brands like .microsoft, .barclays, .sbi used for their purposes. Each one serves a different purpose. New gTLDs build identity for places, commercial gTLDs create new opportunities for industries, and .brand TLD gives companies full control and security over their brand. What is ICANN? Now let's quickly cover ICANN itself. ICANN is a global body that manages and regulates the Internet's naming system. It's a non-profit that ensures the Internet remains neutral, stable, and secure. Whenever a new extension like .app or .brand is launched, it's ICANN that oversees the process. The first round of new gTLD 2012. The first new gTLD round in 2012 was massive. ICANN received 1,930 applications and over 1,200 new extensions went live. It was the internet's biggest identity revolution. Tech giants, banks, startups, and even cities joined in. Not all of them were successful. Some failed due to poor planning or lack of practical adoption, but others reshaped digital identity forever. The upcoming next round of new gTLD 2026. Now, after more than a decade, the new gTLD next round is finally here. ICANN will open applications in April 2026 approximately. The window will be open for 90 days, and this is once in a decade opportunity for brands, next gen entrepreneurs, and registry operators. If one misses this round, they will have to be waiting for another decade for the next round to open up. That's why there is already a huge interest from brands, cities, entrepreneurs, and even governments. Who should apply? So, who should apply for a new gTLD? Brands that want control, trust, and security. Imagine cutting phishing attacks by moving over services under your own domain extension, a .brand domain extension. Governments and cities that want to build digital identities, like .tokyo or .nyc did. Entrepreneurs who want to launch their own domain extensions like .creator, .influencer, .agents, etc. Basically, anyone who wants to own the piece of the internet's infrastructure should pay attention to this round. How to apply? Applying isn't as simple as registering a domain name. Here is the process in simple steps. Prepare your application form well ahead of time, covering technical, business, and financial details. Submit it to ICANN during the application window in 2026. ICANN reviews it, checking for name conflicts, objections, and whether you can run it technically and financially. If you're approved, your extension is delegated to the root zone of the internet, the highest level of the internet. You launch your TLD and start using it for your own brand or community or your own business as a TLD registry. Costs. Now let's talk about cost for applying for a new gTLD. The application fee itself is expected to be around $227,000. The applicant would need a budget of at least $350,000 to $500,000 per TLD string they would like to apply. On top of that, you will need to budget for registry backend service providers, compliance, and operations. For big brands and governments, that's not just an expense, it's an investment in long term security, trust, and digital control. Think about it. One major phishing attack can cost a bank far more than just the application cost in just a week. Timelines. Here is what the timeline for the next round of new gTLD looks like. The applications are going to open approximately for 190 to 120 days in April 2026. The ICANN evaluation period is anywhere between 12 months to 18 months. The first new gTLD from this round could go live around 2027 or 2028. So the earlier you prepare, the smoother your application journey will be. Why now matters? The internet is bigger than ever. More users, more startups, more threats. Security concerns like phishing and fraud are at an all-time high. At the same time, the infrastructure is more mature. There are proven backend providers, real case studies, and global awareness. This is why now is the best time for companies, governments, and entrepreneurs to take action in the new gTLD. Over the coming months, you will see more and more discussions about this. And whether you are a brand, a city, or a visionary entrepreneur, understanding new gTLDs now will put you ahead when the application opens. If you want to stay updated about new gTLD next round, like and comment on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you again next time. Thank you.